Ladies and gentlemen, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Donald Jamal Trump are cooking right now with some seasoning. I've been a fan of, let's say, 80% of what Rubio has done as Secretary of State. And this story we're talking about today adds to that 80%. I always wondered if he was a real Latino. He wasted no time to prove that. Just like his people, he started taking our American jobs away. In fact, the guy has more than one job right now. Typical. He's the 72nd United States Secretary of State. He's currently the United States National Security Advisor, after Mike Waltz was fired for spying for Netanyahu. He's the archivist of the United States. He's the administrator for U.S. aid. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my gosh, this guy has 4 jobs. Anyways, this is what Marco Rubio promised the world.
You're a foreigner and you're out there celebrating the assassination of someone who was speaking somewhere. I mean, we don't want you. Why wouldn't we want to give a visa to someone who thinks it's good that someone was murdered in the public square? There's just common sense to me. We've revoked visas of people. I don't know. We've revoked visas of people that are inside the country. We're most certainly been denying visas. I mean, think about it. I want everybody to think about this for a moment. Okay? You're out there celebrating the assassination in cold blood of someone. And then you want to come in. Why would we want anything like that in our country as a tourist, as anything? We don't want them here. We got to go a process and all these, you know. But I'm sure there'll be something to revoke. There's no shortage of idiots around the world that decide it's a great idea to murder someone. I'm sure want people like that in our country. By the way, it's bad that we have people that are U.S. citizens that feel that way. We can't revoke their visas. I don't have a visa. But you're a foreigner. Why would we want to allow it to the United States, someone who's in favor of murder? We don't want pro-murder people in America.
That was an important statement. He made a strong point. We already have enough people celebrating the tragedy that happened in Utah. And you think you're going to be a foreigner that flies here and does the same? And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's with profound happiness that I announce that Marco Rubio has delivered faster than Amazon Prime. He has revoked more than 80,000 visas. A lot of the revocations have been for criminal activity, but they revoked a lot of visas for people who celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk. These are some of the examples from the Department of State. The United States has no obligation to host foreigners who wish death on Americans. The State Department continues to identify visa holders who celebrated the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk. An Argentine national said that Charlie Kirk devoted his entire life spreading racist, xenophobic, misogynistic rhetoric and deserves to burn in hell. Visa revoked. A South African national mocked Americans grieving the loss of Kirk, saying they're hurt that the racist rally ended in attempted martyrdom, and alleging he was used to astroturf a movement of white nationalist trailer trash. Visa revoked. A Mexican national said that Kirk died being a racist, he died being a misogynist, and stated that there are people who deserve to die. There are people who would make the world better off dead. Visa revoked! A Brazilian national charged that Charlie Kirk was the reason for a Nazi rally where they marched in homage to him, and that Kirk died too late. Visa revoked! A German national celebrated Kirk's death and attempted to justify his murder, writing, "When fascists die, Democrats don't complain." Visa revoked! A Paraguayan national charged that Charlie Kirk was the son of a you-know-the-rest, and he died by his own rules. Visa revoked! More than 16,000 visas were for DUIs. You're not a resident of America and you fly here on a visa and you're driving while under the influence of alcohol. I didn't know that was possible. More than 12,000 for assault, literally getting rid of criminals. And more than 8,000 for theft. How did these people get accepted? Oh, Joe Biden. Almost forgot what the country was like for 4 years before January 20th. They also revoked visas for reasons such as overstays, criminal activity as mentioned, and a threat to public safety, engaging in any form of terrorist activity, or providing support to terrorist organizations. This is one of those parts I disagree with. For a very important reason, the administration has broadly defined support for terrorism to include criticism of U.S. support for Israel and the Jewish state's military action and support for Palestinians. The federal government has previously used this as a justification to cancel visas. When I said I love 80% of what Rubio has been doing, that means I don't like 20%, and this is a lot of that 20%. If you go back in time and tell Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, two men who were obsessed with making American education institutions the best in the world, that the U.S. government is revoking foreign student visas because they criticize the foreign country, they're going to want to use their Second Amendment on you. And things like this are why young people went from historic high approval for Trump to really bad lows right now. And it's not even just a visa thing. It was the federal money going to these universities being under severe fire. But anyways, back on topic. Since Trump returned to the White House in January, his administration has searched for online posts to target foreigners for their potential rescinding of their visas. On his first day back in office, Trump signed an executive order to ensure visa holders do not bear hostile attitudes toward its citizens, culture, government, institutions, or founding principles. And then the following part was about if they said mean things about Israel. I think this part is fine. The State Department said it would start asking applicants to make their social media accounts public for government monitoring, and that interviews with applicants would determine who may pose a threat to national security. I absolutely love it, man. I'm sure I'm going to be getting a lot of people who go, George, how can you praise Marco Rubio for only 80%? But disagree with 20%? Because I'm a really good compartmentalizer. I've always had the ability to isolate things while not letting my isolation thereof to influence my thoughts about other things. Like if I wasn't a good compartmentalizer, I would only talk about Thomas Jefferson as a hypocrite, because this is a guy who believed slavery was morally reprehensible, yet he owned them. I'm able to go, all right, well, he was hypocritical in this aspect, which is something he actually admitted, but he was amazing in these other ways. So therefore, Marco Rubio has done a good job in things I wanted to see and has done things I don't agree with. That doesn't mean you have to agree with what I say about it. You can have a completely different view. I don't have to be right in your eyes, and Rubio doesn't have to be right in my eyes. So revoking these visas for people mocking the death of Charlie Kirk, it's so crucial. You can't get the privilege to come to this country and then something like that happens and you put out disgusting messages. I would even want a similar thing if a leftist personality died in a similar manner. If you had visa holders in the country, like, ha ha ha, look, ha ha ha, that happened to this leftist. Nah, we don't do things like that around here. In my video on Charlie Kirk's birthday last month, I talked about there being social consequences to this kind of behavior, even for citizens of the United States. There shouldn't really be any legal consequences unless they're calling for further violence of the same nature. But people who celebrate like that, when something like that happens, shouldn't be allowed to participate in polite society. They shouldn't have a job. They shouldn't have social media handles. I'm a First Amendment absolutist, of course, but that kind of speech incites evil, and I don't like it. The Discord servers and group chats these people are in need to be investigated. There needs to be some AI-powered pre-crime tool that monitors all these Discord servers and pick up on any potential plans from these disgusting people. You had people like me mourning what happened to Charlie, and you had millions of people on the left celebrating. It just irked me, man. Thank you all very much for watching. God bless and goodbye.